Oh my goodness, this is so strange on a Tuesday night. Okay, we usually give it about that amount of time. What is going on? You are watching and, of course, listening to Tags Live, aka Talk About Gay Sex, the live edition, where we are here not every Wednesday night. On tonight, we are here Tuesday night. That's the holiday season. I am your host, Stevie V, alongside co-host Teddy Alexis. How you doing, Teddy?
Hi, it's the Rodriguez's
It's the
holding the
Rodriguez's.
fort.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's so funny doing the show because, we record Tags podcast on Monday night. It drops
Mhm.
Tuesday. So last night I was recording it. Here we are. Here I am again doing another show.
Again.
I kind of love it. I think I could do this almost every night. I mean, not every night, but like 5 days a week for
Yeah,
sure. As long as we had guests and more producers, I could totally do it. It would be
absolutely.
so much fun. So great to see you. I love that wall behind you over there in LA of your films.
Thank you.
So cool. I love it. Keep going with that. Welcome back, Teddy. And it's great to be here. Kodi has the night off. This is episode 624. I just wanted to make a quick announcement, though. I went to Santa's Secret here in New York City with Jeremy Ross Lopez, our co host, and his boyfriend. And like I said, if you listen to episode 623, it was so good. And, sometimes those holiday things, you never know. How are they? Is it worth the money? And it was worth the money. It was really naughty. I mentioned that we got bumped up to VIP status because I showed
Ooh.
my dick pic. That's how naughty it really was. Shaquita hosted it and she's legendary and did
Mhm.
not disappoint. The singing was on point. All of it was just so good. What I didn't know was the show, they're doing 2 shows a week here in New York City up until December 31st on New Year's Eve, which is so
Wow.
cool.
Mhm.
But it's also going to be playing in Los Angeles as well. So they're doing the same thing through December 31st. So if you happen to make your way to LA or New York, check this show out. It is what you need right now, especially if you're going to like a lot of ugly sweater
Exactly.
parties, or you
Mhm.
don't want to, or you're a little bit scared about the family this year, definitely go to this. It will make everything okay. And, the holidays should be a little bit naughty as well, I think. Do you agree?
I agree. I think that's a really fun option, especially for us that we do the family thing, but also we do our own thing. I think it's good to have an alternative to be like, okay, family, I'll see you in a couple days. Time for me,
Yeah.
right?
By the way, where will you? I know most of your family's from in Puerto Rico. Where
Right.
will you be for the holidays, and how will you spend it?
I usually go home for the holidays.
Okay.
So that's what I'm doing this year too. My both of my parents are alive, so I like to spend time with them, and then I'll come back early to have like my own thing here in LA with friends and things. Get naughty
That sounds
before the semester starts.
Yes, exactly. Right. I will go home to the Bay Area, California, to see my family for a week, and then back here to be with my boyfriend and do something
Hmm.
naughty and fun for New Year's Eve celebration. And then it's my birthday because I'm a Capricorn. So I'll get into
Ooh,
that.
cap energy.
Cap
Okay,
energy. And what's your sign, by the way? I don't even
I'm a
know.
Pisces. I'm double
Oh,
Pisces, Virgo. It's
okay.
crazy. I'm water
I love
wars all the time.
I love Virgo, and I'm with a Scorpion who's water sign as well.
Water and my
So,
mom, everybody in my household is water sign. My mom is a Scorpio, my dad is a Cancer, and my sister and I are Pisces. It's like always emotional all the time.
I love it. Well, we love it when you talk back to us and when you weigh in on some of the hot topics that we have going on here. And one of our favorite listeners over on Instagram says at Sinfully Good says, "Hello, sexy men. I hope you are both having a great day. I listened to episode 621 and I wanted to share my thoughts on the discussion about Luke Evans. I
Mhm.
think this was the discussion, just to give you a little insight. Luke Evans, the actor, is out, gay, has a brand new memoir, really killing it right now in so many ways, but really divulges a lot in his new memoir about growing up, to really hiding being gay, not feeling comfortable always with the way he looked, both body and his face. And we brought it up and we were discussing it on that episode. He said, I think it does a disservice to say that his thoughts and feelings on his body are BS, just because us as outsiders may view him as having a quote unquote perfect body does not change how he views himself. Perfect isn't one size fits all thing. We all view the world and ourselves in many different ways, and I think it takes away from another person's struggles, life experiences, and trauma when we take how we view and see them and the world and thrust that onto them. Yes, Luke has a nice body and privilege that many of us aren't afforded, but is he not allowed to have the same emotional and mental battles that we all go through? In a way, it helps humanize celebrities because a lot of people tend to idolize them and put them on a pedestal. They forget that at the end of the day, they are human beings just like everyone else. And I know that we were a little bit hard. Some of my co-hosts were a little bit hard on him when I brought this topic up, and I would love to bring this up to them to, you know, answer to this. I brought it up because I actually related to him, and the way I can relate to him is, years ago, and I think I said this on that episode. I have always been a gymnast, and and then I got into modeling at times. And there was times when I didn't feel great about my body or my face or what I was going through. And people were always like, "Oh, you should really like shut up because you have a great body and you have an unfair advantage because you've been a gymnast, and
Mhm.
who really wants to hear from you," is basically what people told me back then. But it didn't take away the way I felt and what I was going through. And it just means that the stakes are higher. Luke Evans' stakes are higher because he probably felt like this growing up, but then now he's an actor and the scrutiny is really on him. So, well, I get it. Yeah, he looks amazing, and some might say he has privilege now. This wasn't always the case for Luke Evans. Do you see what our listener is trying to say, or how do you relay on this?
Yeah, I think everybody has a different set of cards, and I think we always have these conversations that really die on generality, right? So, the framework of what I'm working with, meaning my body and my situation, it's what I experience. So, just because you have a different framework doesn't mean that you don't get to experience things. So, um a conversation of privilege, we can have it all day long. I don't think with
Yeah,
body image it's something that is productive, because if something that is universal is that we all experience life in a body. So
yeah,
uh regardless of the ability of that body, right? So I do hear you sinfully, and I think because the boys were having a good kiki, they really
mhm,
didn't get what Luke was going for, which is when you write a memoir, it's just such an intimate thing, right?
right.
Just that we have the ability to access all of that. It's already, it's a vulnerable place for him. So yeah, I give him grace. He looks great. And I get it. I think I had more issues with my body when I was 10% body fat, and I was like checking my body all the time. Um, Now that I'm a
Yeah.
little thicker, I'm just like I'm more relaxed about it. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you have a point there. I have to keep my body because I've always worked out. I was a
Hmm.
gymnast, and now I am in front of the camera more for the show, but that doesn't mean as much. But in terms of like, I do OnlyFans just for
Right.
fans, and you see every part of my body when I
Exactly.
do that, and I have to keep a certain look that at least I'm comfortable with, that
Right.
I also edit my content too.
So you
I'm the
really see your
I'm
body
the
in here.
actor, I'm the editor, I'm the craft service, and sometimes that craft service is a little bit too thick and meaty and juicy, and I need
Hmm.
to like make it all about salad, and so I see everything about it and I get it.
Well, as humans, we're not really meant to see ourselves,
Right.
right? Mirrors are not something that is naturally occurring, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And
Right.
I know this because I've seen classes about self-image and things like that, and the first thing they said is, by the way, as human beings, we're not built to know how we look, much less know what we look in like cameras, and like you're shooting yourself from some angles that you will never be able to see. You don't have the ability to bend that way, right? I know
Right.
you're very flexible, but
Right.
do you understand the
No,
point that I'm making?
I do. I absolutely do. And it's
All right,
thank
we
you for
have like a
saying that.
really long comment there.
Yeah, right. Oh my goodness. Do we want to read it? Do you want to read it?
I could with my beautiful Puerto Rican accent.
Yeah.
So okay, so Bryce says, I think we need to remember that gays are not necessarily discrediting Luke Evans' struggle. However, I believe celebrities often get a pass if they're sexy. Regular Joes hardly get any support, and I would imagine the listener might not be inclined to message about body image for someone that is not in the limelight. Also, Luke has financial means and gets surgery if he's not happy with his body. That's privilege.
Hmm,
That's what Bryce says.
interesting. Yeah, and I would just reference the memoir that he has out now, and a lot of he's doing press, I think, right now, and a lot of his references have to do with how when he wasn't the celebrity that he is now. So if you
Hmm.
take that away, most of the memoir is the building blocks that got him to where he is today, which he's not necessarily talking about life today. I mean, you can go to his Instagram and see his boyfriend and him, and they've got a new fashion underwear line that's fabulous. But
Hmm.
really, what he's talking about is growing up and how he felt and the building blocks that got him to where he is today. And so, with that, I'm giving him grace, and I kind of want to read this book and because I really like him and I think he's really cool and I think he's being honest and I think everybody gets to say how they and we don't I was just thinking about it because we nixed a story yesterday about Lance Bass who talked
Uh-huh.
about coming out in 2006 and how
Right.
he had a TV show that was going to come out and the producers said it was a TV pilot. They nixed it because they said no one's going to believe you now that you're gay play a straight
Oh, that's
character.
a whole other conversation.
And yeah, and if that's just still in this 21st century here, not that
Yeah. Hmm.
long ago. And
Yeah.
so I think now we've got music artists, we've got actors out there. It's really refreshing to hear our stories, and we don't want to diminish people's stories. We've got Coleman Domingo killing it.
Oh
We've
my
got
God.
Cooper Koch also killing it and saying, if I sound gay, it's because I am gay, and quit talking about my gay voice. We've got
Yeah.
Troye Sivan, who embraces being a twink, but is also killing it with Charlie XCX and one of the hottest tours of the summer. It's like, come on. We are now hearing our stories, unlike Lance was able to do as a gay man back in 2006, which wasn't that long ago, people.
No,
So it's like, if we want to tell our stories now, it's brilliant. And I say, you keep trudging on. It's great. So I'm here for it.
absolutely.
Okay.
I love how you pronounce memoir, by the way.
Memoir. Did I say it like
Mm-hmm.
that?
Just something about there is a je ne sais quoi to it.
Okay, I will go with this. Oh, this next story, I just can't. It's the story that keeps giving and giving, and I'm just loving it. Part of the reason I'm talking about the Village People YMCA, which, by the way, he can have it as a gay anthem because I never liked the song ever. I was just like kitschy, and I've never liked kitschy songs ever. So when
Hmm.
this came out, I used to just roll my eyes, but I did the little dance because I thought to fit in, I would
Yeah,
do that dumb thing. And but it's never been. I always thought they were just a kitschy act, if you will. That's the only way I know how to say it. Not somebody
yeah.
that I want. I don't think I have. I don't have any Village People material in this in
But you're
my.
also too young, right?
I'm
Because
really not. I mean, it was really kind
wait,
of it
what you were
was
born in what year?
71,
Well,
so
exactly. So that song came out in 1970.
correct, but or
So
later, I think. Was it
it's
later
70.
70 or 77?
I'm I'm like I was almost sure that it was 70.
You look that up while
I
I
looked that up.
can well, so when we were recently talking about the Village People and the original singer of it, Victor Willis, who is really come first of all the Trump when Donald Trump started playing it in
Hmm.
his rallies, he was totally against it, and
78.
he
I was
wanted
so
them to,
wrong.
and then he wanted to take it down. Then when he started to see his sales of the song and him bumping the song up, he had a
Hmm.
different tune. He's also married to a lawyer that she has now together they've come back. So now he's for Trump playing the song, and he's tooting it as, "Hey, Donald Trump can totally play this song. He can even play it in his inauguration, on and on and on." Which that part of it is fine. I pretty much tuned it out. I can't tune out the dance that Donald Trump does when he's been on that stage, but that's a whole different conversation. But if he wanted to change his tune because the track now is making him money again, great. It's the American way, have at it. What I had a problem with, and we haven't even gotten into the
Hmm.
news story, is that now his wife and him have threatened anybody that wants to, from the media, that coins the tune YMCA a gay anthem, because he
Hmm.
says it was never meant to be a gay anthem. He never meant it to be a gay anthem. It was had nothing to do with that. It was all about just going. It was not about lascivious, his words, behavior going on in the YMCA. Well, the twist of it now, and he's gone on so many TV shows from CNN to TMZ to really to it was never meant to be. I never wrote it for the gays. It's never meant to be a gay anthem. I don't want it to be. If the gays like it, fine, but it was never. And it's like, okay, calm down. We don't. I don't even like the song. So it's like,
Hmm.
calm your ass down. Well, now another member, the construction worker, David Hodo, has come forth because he's had enough. And he said, after 30, he's worked over 30 years, two different stints, released a statement responding to Willis's bold assertion and said that the original French producer, Jacques Morali, who co wrote the song with Willis for YMCA Enduring Hook, and just to be clear, there would be no YMCA song without Jacques Morali, who was gay. He came up with the hook as he did with all of the Village People music. And after Randy Jones, okay, the cowboy, who I've met here in New York City before,
Hmm.
uh, actually took Jacques, who's gay, to several YMCAs and introduced him to several gay adult film stars who worked out there. He said, quote unquote, just to be clear, there would be no YMCA song without the hook, as he did with all VP music after Randy Jones took him to several gay, introduced him to several gay porn stars who worked out there. It speaks as though he were Stephen Sondheim, which I think is hilarious. YMCA would have disappeared from the charts for good had it not been for the fact that the kids from American Bandstand came up with that arm movement. That silly little dance is why this song has endured, not the brilliant songwriting. And that to me is amazing. And just to stay on it really quickly, if you listen to some of the lyrics here, I'll just read: young
Sing it.
man, there's no need to feel down. Young man, get yourself off the ground. He goes on to say, young man, no man by himself. Young man, put your pride on the shelf. Basically, he says to you can get yourself clean, you can have a good meal, you can. They have everything young men to enjoy. You can hang out with all of the boys. It's fun to stay at the YMCA, and you get it. It was always if it was produced by a gay producer who knew that world where a lot of gay sex was happening. It's like, why is this guy denying it?
Well, the conversation to me, it's this is why queer baiting is so wrong, because there's never been a question about the on gayness of YMCA, right?
Ever
It's
or in the
branded in
Navy
an
either.
album,
Yeah.
yeah, in an album that is called Cruising. Most of the band members are gay. They're basically on the village, and that's why they're named that way. So they branded themselves as that when the first tour promotions were in gay bars, and these are facts. I'm not making this up. This is not something that I think. These are facts. So that's no question that was branded as a gay single. So then, now that it's not convenient, right?
Right.
And now that the wave has turned, what is the saying that they say, the roosters have come to? I don't know. The rats came. I don't know. It's everybody.
Yeah.
It's all coming out of the woodworks. All of these problematic people. Also, when you were branded as a gay act for in the 70s, the disco era, all that stuff, that was cool, and all the bookings that you all had, that was cool. Now
Yeah.
everything's right up, right? Because y'all are like, that was like 40 years ago. Now it's not convenient, and now you have to brand yourselves as these problematic people, which it looks that that's who you are. So then maybe you need to give the money back of all the gay dollars that you have on your bank account.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous.
Since it's not a gay anthem, so then we just need the money back, because that's why you were doing those bookings. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I do. And I think it's brilliant that the construction worker is clapping back and saying, let's be
Just the
clear.
fact that it's branded like it's like the construction worker, like, seriously,
I
come
mean,
on.
come on. It's like, whatever. He didn't even need to go down there. Even if it became a situation where he noticed the song is doing well now and he was against Donald Trump to begin with, but now he sees this making him money. Okay, capitalism, great, go for that. But why you have to throw in anybody that says that it was a gay anthem? It's not. And saying all the things that happened in the YMCA were naughty and lascivious and get your mind out of the gutter kind of situation. It's like, no, that's where the song originated, and you co-wrote that and signed off on it. If you don't rewrite history now because you're making coin off of it, and by the way, we didn't even need to go down this rabbit hole. You just should have been collecting your new coin and riding off into the sunset. Nobody wants to hear, but to say, like, he wrote a song like Sondheim and he's reflecting on it and it never meant to be that is really rich. And I love that his former, it's just, I love it. So
we want the money back.
Yeah, right. We want the money back. Exactly. Oh my gosh. Well, let's switch gears to what is going on in our world right now. And Walmart just,
oh my goodness.
Yeah, I know, moved to pull trans merch pride funding in a massive DEI purge. And they did this it's weird how they did this, Teddy, right before, right after the election, right before the inauguration. But the removing of sexual and transgender products marketed to children, whatever that means, they will no longer be giving money and putting anything into Pride merchandise, which they did before. They used to give a lot of money to the community as well. All of that is being stripped. And the company is also reviewing all funding of Pride and other events and monitoring its online marketplace to remove sexual or transgender products marketed to children. Walmart also said it will not extend its Center for Racial Equity, a 5-year, $100 million philanthropic commitment the company made in 2020 to address the root causes of gaps in outcomes of African Americans in education, health, criminal justice, and other areas. I mean, when you heard this, and we could talk about a lot of other things that we're seeing because of what's going to be the new administration. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, this is what I always thought that it was going to happen because most of these companies seemed that their DEI framework was very a performance. It
Yeah.
wasn't real commitment to anything. I mean, selling your products that are not even cute and
Yeah.
that's like your allyship. So. I don't
Yeah.
know, and it's really telling of. I mean, I always believe that Walmart is a trash company. Anyways, they destroy
Oh,
towns. I don't really go there unless I must. But um, this is kind of like on track with how they operate. It's not a nice company. They're not for the people. They're not even for their own employees. So yeah,
yeah. As
now
one of
I'm
our
gonna try to avoid them even more. Go ahead.
as one of our viewers said, is performative. So all those things that they were giving before were all performative. Just so to strip those away now, and not give any reason as to why, and just speaks that it was performative, and that now they're going with this new wave that they probably always wanted to go with, and it just speaks
Mm-hmm.
volumes on the Walmart brand, customer, and we didn't want them anyway. So it's sad because in Puerto Vallarta, it's one of the stores I was telling you offline that
Yeah.
we don't have a Target over there, and sometimes we got to get supplies, and that one is available to get supplies, and it's just like we're gonna
I
have to
mean,
find another store.
which is how that's their business. It's
Yeah, right.
making themselves the only place that you can go to. And you know, we're privileged that we're in big cities and we can actually elect, but like when you're in a place like just a random example, Lubbock, you know, there's
Yeah,
like 5 Walmarts and all the pop shops are pretty much closed. So,
yeah.
that's how they operate.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, we have a lot to get through, so many
Hmm.
hot topics, and we got to get to. So, on episode 623, we were talking about Unwrapped. And if you know anything about Unwrapped, it's the end of the year. Spotify does their Unwrapped series on who people were listening to all year long. We, as a podcast, are on Spotify, and we gained 56% new listeners in
Whoop, whoop.
2024, as well as some other great stats, but that was one of the biggest ones that I was loved. But everybody is doing their Unwrapped at the end of the year, including Grinder, which we talked extensively about in episode 623. So I won't bore you with that. But now it's Squirt's time to do
Yes.
their Unwrapped. And Teddy and I didn't know a lot about Squirt, but we kind of surmised it to be maybe the app version of Sniffies, if you will. So a kind
Hmm.
of a cruising and hookup app. And what we got out of them what were we searching for? Top categories in 2024. I'll read some of the top 10. We'll discuss. At number 10, it was Twinks, which no surprise.
No surprise.
Yeah,
Still
Twinks were at
popular. Still popular.
still popular to
Hmm.
be young and beautiful. Number 9, public sex. This is one of my favorites. I love public sex. When I tried it before, it's risky sex, as our
Hmm.
co-host Kodi likes to say. And I do like watching public sex on my porn. How do you weigh in on number 9, public sex?
Absolutely, as a no for me, as my job will not like that at all. At all.
How about watching
It's
it?
what is it? What is it? I'm a lady on the streets.
Got it. And a freak in the sheets and home.
Yeah.
Do you like watching it when you're looking at porn?
Um, I will. Oh, Cody's there. I thought she had the night off.
Oh,
That's
I
funny.
love it.
No,
Hi,
it's
boo.
not one of my search.
Okay, yeah, got it.
Hmm.
It's one of mine. I like it. I think it's a little raw and just makes it one of the ones that we're going to read in a minute is amateur sex, and it seems to go along with that. And I've always been intrigued with outdoor sex because of the danger part of it.
Hmm.
Like, will we get caught? So I do love that. Rough sex came at number 8. Okay, no surprise there. Group sex was another common thing that people were searching for in adult films categories for 2024. Coming in at number 6, which I love that it beat Twinks, was Daddy. So, like Twinks, Daddies are having a moment in pop
Okay,
culture. I
now we're
mean,
getting to my likes.
yeah, I mean, Pedro Pascal in the grinder category was number 1, Coleman Domingo, but also that For the Love of Dilfs is doing really well on Out TV,
Hmm.
hosted by Stormy Daniels. And I am a daddy these days. And so
Hmm.
I'm happy that Daddy came in above Twinks. So that's really good. Number 5, no surprise, blowjobs. And that was kind of a funny thing because we were talking about what was more popular in foreplay, blowjobs or making out.
Hmm.
Guess which one? You didn't
Blowjobs?
listen.
Mm-mm.
No, making out, blue
Oh,
blowjobs.
funny.
So
I got the pun.
yeah, I got
But
it.
Make
Yeah,
Out didn't make the top 10 in Squirt.
it didn't. In things that we
Interesting.
watch in adult films categories of 2024, obviously the cum shot was a biggie
Hmm.
for what we want to watch in adult films. Amateur porn was number
Absolutely.
3. Big dick. Okay, come on, go big or go
I mean,
home.
Big Dick is just fun.
Yeah. And
That's just
lastly,
fun.
number 1, what did we want to watch as our top taboo adult film categories was Bareback. And I can definitely agree to that with everybody on prep. And it's so funny because there's somebody that I met here in New York City about a
Uh-huh.
couple of months ago. And we were hanging out just casual. And then I found out he has an OnlyFans just in
Oh,
conversation. I'm like, oh, wow, I do too. And he's really hot and sexy. I've looked at a lot of his content. And I was thinking, I think I told him that night, oh, we should collab, the word you use. But I started looking at some of his Twitter
uh-oh.
stuff. And while I still would maybe consider collabing with him, all of his porn that he puts out there is with a condom on, and he's got a huge
Oh.
dick.
Hmm.
And I was like, oh, yeah, I haven't done the condom thing in a while.
Uh-huh.
And I could see why bareback for squirt was number 1. If you watched a porn right now, would you be bareback? Would you mind if they have the condom on?
Well, we are in the doxy prep era, right? So
Yeah, right.
why the over safety, right? So that's
Yeah.
interesting. I prefer bareback as well, which is interesting. But well, and that doesn't go with your branding because aren't you like a topish in your OnlyFans, if I can ask?
Um, well, I'm both in it. I
Okay,
mean,
okay,
yeah, most of my stuff is solo, to be honest. But when I
okay.
have collabed, I have equally, not equally, done more bottoming in it. But I would happily
Mm,
top. But I would definitely, it would be raw, and it would be just what Squirt is reporting on. And I just think that's what people want to see today. And the science is there now. Now
sure.
we never know what anybody for reasons why they would use condoms, and that's
Yeah,
fine too. We don't want to shame anyone for using condoms, and that's fine too. I just think I've been sensitized to want to watch more, raw
more
for
raw
sure.
action.
Absolutely.
All right.
Okay, let's move on to somebody that let's get to this topic before we get to others, because I know you want to talk about this. It's somebody that you love, David Archuleta, he's a, how would you describe him? He's a former contestant
He's
on,
American Idol former contestant. And he's a pop sensation. And we all had the thoughts that he was gay, but he was like a very tight Mormon. And then here's maybe like 5 years ago, he came out officially, and he's healing through this process. So we're now finding out a lot about his sex life, and that's
which I
where
think
this
is
topic come in.
exactly. Thank you for that. And I appreciate that because now apparently he's in his horny era because he was recently on Logo's Spill Bar with Johnny
Mhm.
Sibley, and who we love Johnny
Yes.
Sibley. During the interview, Sibley brought up, and this was kind of funny because at one point they went to dinner and both of them were wondering the same question: is this a date? And they couldn't really figure out if it really was a date. I don't know who initiated it, but
Also, total
that,
bottom energy from both of them.
I guess, but
Hmm.
Archuleta apparently is a top, and as he said before,
Hmm.
and that got Johnny Sibley to ask the question, "What is your actual type?" And he said, "My ideal partner," Archuleta said, "I think I need
Hmm.
somebody who's able to match my energy, somebody who will match my freak." And this, of course, got Sibley really into it. What makes David Archuleta horny? Archuleta immediately responded with a good face, then doubled down by saying he wasn't all that impressed by male genitalia. If you remember, he's dated women before, he said girlfriends, and he says, I don't really understand when people are like, oh, that's a good dick, he said. I'm like, oh my gosh, what is attractive about a dick? I think if I like you, then okay, whatever. You have a nice dick. That's great. But I have to like you first. He admitted this leads to a lot of people labeling him a demisexual. And that's where basically you have to actually have a romantic or an emotional connection to someone prior to sex. And in regards to labeling Archuleta, he said he didn't, in fact, consider himself demi, but on the scale of asexual, if I don't have this emotional connection with you, it's like if I'm not into dick anyway, then it's like I'm not going to be going out seeking it. What did you think of this revelation about him revealing all of this? Because I can relate to some of it. I have to have a connection with,
Really?
I mean, well, we were talking about this on the last episode and we were giving advice. I could definitely, I got to take my glasses off for this one.
Oh, okay. You're gonna make a point.
Yeah, I'm going to make a point. I can have anonymous hot sex with the dick, and that's when I'm looking
Sure.
for big dicks when it's in
Hmm.
a cruising bar.
Sure.
And when I'm just grabbing dick or going getting on my knees or having someone suck my dick, when it's really in that mode, yeah, I don't need to have an emotional connection. It's hot sex. If I bring somebody home, that means then I want to be a little bit more connected with the person. And
Hmm.
hopefully it could still be hot, rough sex. But the fact that there would have been something earlier in the night that would have connected me to you that now I want to know more. And it's more than just the dark alley room sex, it's connected sex, which is what David is kind of alluding to. He has to kind of have that to really get down and dirty. And thank goodness, I think with a demisexual is that sex only gets better and better typically because you want to know more, you're more emotionally involved. And there are other types of sexuality where you really lose interest the more you get to know somebody, the more,
Hmm.
which I wouldn't want that because that would be the opposite of a demisexual. How do you weigh in what David is saying and how do you relate to what he is saying?
I have a two couple thoughts. So I watched the interview on its entirety because I like both men a lot. So I was just really
Enamored.
intrigued. Yeah, really intrigued by it. Um, so I was actually disappointed because, like, in the off chance that I will ever hook up with a David Archuleta, I was like, oh, he's a top. Like, let's make this happen. But then it was giving me a lot of side energy for some reason. I didn't
Oh.
never read demisexual and sapiosexual, but then I started putting the contexts. And really the context for David, it's that anything that you experience it will take you at least half of the time of what you're experiencing to get over it. And he was in a very tight religion for probably like 20, 30 years. So I
Mormon.
think, yeah, he was a very strict Mormon. And what I think is happening to him is that he's still unpacking that and like kind of creating who he is as a gay man and a sexual being. And I think that is way too early to read into what he's saying off of like a comment on TikTok, which is where people were getting like that he was a top, and what he was saying there, because it really felt to me like it was just like the Christianity framework popping up, but in not really, because he really does need to like experiment being a teenager, which he didn't experience, and then get into the whole, okay, this is what I'm really into, an experiment. And I don't think he has had the time to do that. So I don't read too much on what he was saying, just as that's where he's at the moment, but I don't know if that's who he will fully be. Does
So,
that
do
make
you think
sense?
some of these media articles are trying to summarize where he's at sexually in his relationship? But in
Absolutely.
reality, he is just having a good time and exploring. But yet,
Yeah.
on the other hand, you can't go on shows like this, John Sibley, which is on Logo, which is doing
Hmm.
really well, and not have people talk about these things. We're going to extract, this is what we do. We extract the comments and we discuss.
Hmm.
And I mean, if you were his manager, would you tell him, hey, come over here, I'll take care of you, but do not go on any of these shows right now. You're not ready? Or what would you say to him?
Well, it's not that he's not ready. Like that's not the point. The point is that he is evolving into the human being that he is because he was not free for such a long time. Which is
Right.
something that I can relate to because I went through the same journey. Not that I was not free, but it was just that I was so concentrated in school that which is how I found out this podcast, that I really didn't experiment. So I didn't really know what I was into because I didn't have the data points to really know what if you haven't experienced it, how you know if you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So I
right. I
feel
do.
like that's where he's at.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. But it makes for good fodder and for good
Oh, absolutely. We'll talk
conversation.
about him all day long.
I know you're a big fan of him and I love it. Oh my goodness. Okay, well, there was a story that backfired, which I love, when a homophobe creepily posted a video of a gay couple kissing. It blasted on the internet, not for the right reasons. And sometimes there's moments that serve a great reminders as queer people that things, however fraught, are still progressing for the better, even just a little. But in this case, it didn't work out. Today, the victory is a homophobe getting a nonstop dunked on for posting a video on the internet for a gay couple kissing. And on December 7th, user at JMGobble69 posted a video of these two guys making out. Have you seen the video that I'm talking about, Teddy?
Yes.
It's at a bar in Tennessee, I believe, of these two guys making out, and it's really hot. I've
Yes.
been lip locked with people before and been in the same situation, but I can't imagine somebody photographing me, videoing me, and then posting it and discussing it to having a
Hmm.
moment. It was just a moment. This backfired because the guy that posted the 6-second video, which garnered 27 million views at the time of writing the article of that I'm referencing, backfired because the guy was like, "Ugh, I'm out," and hashtag the bar that they were kissing at, and acted like he was so disgusted that what he was seeing. I want to know why he was at this gay bar in the first place. Like, why are you there? There's a possibility if you're at a gay bar, you're going to see people kissing of the same
People.
gender. But people backfired it because they said, why are we filming random people at a pub and posting it online? And a lot of people accused the person posting it of going back and wanking it out because they
Mhm.
thought that it was so hot. There is something to be said about two guys making out I've always thought this. I know a lot of my straight girlfriends think the same thing too. It's really hot when you see two guys interlocked like that. And I don't know if it's because it's been so taboo for so many years, but that it's just hot. But why do you think it's so funny that it backfired for this guy? And by the way, why was he at this bar? Can you imagine? And filming this?
Because he needs to do that. Remember,
Yeah,
he's projecting.
right.
He's not getting that, and he is upset. And I think it's very obvious. He stays on them for so long. Like if you were like, I would never stay on somebody
Ever.
that I was like secretly
Like, yeah, if you and I saw that, we go, "Ooh, okay," and we like looked
right.
away.
And
Much
he was
less
just like,
not film them.
yeah, he's filming them. Like he at least watched them for a hot minute. You know what I
And it's
mean?
a
So,
hot kiss, by the way.
oh yeah, these guys are like really into each other. Like it's very sweet too. Like it's hot but sweet at the same time. You don't
Yeah,
get
good
it.
point. Thank you for adding the little sugar and spice that we needed this holiday season, just to remind us that we are in a Christmas season. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
So
am
then,
watching The Great Bake Off.
so then, he's just so upset. I think it's because he needs to deal with some things on his head and get on with the fact that he likes men.
Yeah, I mean, I think you might be right too, because why are you at this gay bar to begin with? Because he
Hmm.
hashtags the gay bar in Tennessee. So clearly somebody brought him there. He knew he was at that bar. You knew
Yeah,
there's always a possibility when you go to a gay bar that you're going to see people kissing. So the
yeah,
whole story doesn't really add up other than your logic that he's really repressed and this backfired on him and now he needs to confront his demons and actually maybe he'll be the next guy making out in the next video because he realized, hey, it's really good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe in a couple of years you'll be collabing with him in OnlyFans. Who knows?
Oh my God, let's not go that far. I'm not good. No, never, and not happening. Oh my God. Okay, well, let's move on to what did I want to? We didn't talk about Squid Games. And,
Yeah,
Squid Games during the pandemic made such a huge impact. And now they're finally coming out with season two. But many fans are upset because a cis man is actually going to play a trans woman in the new reboot. Well, when they announced that K drama series Squid Game is coming back in December, did you watch it, by the way?
no.
I didn't finish it, but I did get into it for a hot second. And, when we
Can
were
I
all like,
clarify really
yeah,
fast?
clarify.
I love Korean film. This is was not it for me because it
Okay.
gave me a lot of anxiety just from the trailer. But we can keep the conversation because I.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So season two is coming out. Spoiler alert. There's a new character. It's a trans woman named Huyon Ju or Player 120. And sadly or not, you decide the character will be played by a 39-year-old Korean actor, Park Sung-hoon, who previously starred as a villain in another popular Netflix K-drama called Queens of Tears. Well, a lot of people, of course, were pissed off that, like, really, like, you're coming back and there's so many trans actors that could play it. I see it a little bit differently because in Korea, it's a whole different story. South Korea is heavily conservative, so getting a trans actor would be actually dangerous. And people who think that I'm reading this, should have casted a trans actor, that would be really stupid of them to do a straight people playing LGBTQ plus roles in South Korea. They get a lot of hate. Trans representation in Korea is still a great area, and but most people said that if they are going to cast, they hope that this actor really does his homework and at least talks to trans actual trans people, trans women, to see their story so that they bring this into the storyline. I don't know if that's all going to happen because it's already been filmed. And I
Mhm.
see it both ways because we've had a lot in our own country. Matt Bomer played a trans character at one point, and that didn't go so well. I don't think that many. Halle Berry at one point was going to play a trans character and then realized that it was wrong and bowed out of the project. Here in America, it's a different story. I think Korea has their own set of, you know, it's not the same there, even in South Korea. And so I don't know. Hear it. I don't know if I'm going to watch season two. How do you weigh
Mhm.
in? Are you pissed off like a lot of people are?
I'm not pissed off. I am always aware of that the cultural context. We always want to put things in the cultural context of the United States, even in other countries, and not every place. As somebody that has lived in other countries, not everybody has the same access. Not everybody has what is happening here. So I think that it's a question of what is the acceptance of LGBT people. I don't know it. I'm not a studier of Korea, South Korea, North Korea, none of that area, so I don't really know. But that is a good question to have. Is do these people are safe there and they can portray, because there was a time here where if you played a gay character, your career was over.
Right. Yeah,
And
absolutely.
some of the other countries are in that timeline. We are not all in the same timeline. So that's a question that I have. I would have with this show that I haven't seen nor will I be watching. I don't think, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was one thing to watch it during the pandemic. We'll see how season two does and fares. I hear the side of why they can't cast necessarily a trans actor, and that person would really be up for a lot of hatred within their own country. I think if they actually did cast a trans person. So
If that's the case, I don't know what the case is.
yeah,
You know
according
what I
to
mean?
the article, it could be really detrimental
Okay,
because
well.
yeah, while they're making some strides, they're not quite where we are here in America. And so, like you said at the beginning, top of it, to place our ideals and what we're going through here in America on a blueprint onto Korea, South Korea, isn't really fair. You can choose to whether or not you want to watch this and support this. I don't know. In the end, I feel like this is a hot topic, but I also feel like I'm curious to see if Squid Game's season two does as well, because I think it was really a product of, remember the tiger, what was it called, the
Tiger
tiger
King.
Tiger King. It was, everybody was like, you had to watch it during the
Right.
pandemic. And
Yeah.
then we all forgot about it after, like,
Right.
it was just like nobody cared anymore. And one of
Yeah.
them's in jail now, and it's like, oh, whatever. I'm curious to see if this translates into a post pandemic season two. I don't know. I probably
Mhm.
not going to watch it because I didn't finish even season one.
Yeah,
But
you have more episodes to watch.
yeah, right. So we'll see, but let us know how you weigh. And let's give some advice before we get to Thirst Trap. We're getting to quarterfinals on Thirst Trap, and there was a couple things that let's just do this one that's kind of
Okay.
simple and easy. And it was a petition to remove. Oh, guess you won't be bottoming tonight when eating large meals, e.g., Thanksgiving or Christmas, put in there from our collective gay vocabulary. What do they mean? It's tired, it's overdone, it's not funny. What other gays say tropes should be added to this petition? Basically, the idea that, it's kind of making fun of bottoms, that you can't monitoring what bottoms eat and who's going to
Mm,
bottom and this and that. And I just say, ignore all that bullshit. And if you're hanging around
mhm.
about those kinds of people that really are those old school, I mean, when my boyfriend and I want to fuck and he says, I'm not ready, it's not clean. I say, fuck it, we'll do it anyway. And we
Well,
do.
fuck it.
We do. And it doesn't even, I mean, I don't even pay attention to that. Now, I get it's different from when you are with somebody new, but
Sure.
what do you think about these old tropes of, oh, don't eat so much, and what this guy is alluding to?
Well, it's incorrect because it takes like 12 hours to digest something. So I can be
Oh,
clean
good
and eat
point.
and not have my stuff come out. If your stuff is coming out within 30 minutes, go to a doctor. Please go to a doctor.
Yes. Dr. Goldstein's a great
I think
one
I
who's
think
been
there's
on our
always
show.
hmm I think they're trying to bottom. There's always trying to bottom chain because
Yes.
like why? Do you know how much work we had to put into this?
Right?
Be appreciative of the whole. Okay, stop with the
Yes.
tropes. And like you're like there's some tops that are just like yeah, just give it to me. I don't care if it's dirty, clean,
Yeah. Right.
medium rare. You know what I mean? So
I do actually know what you mean. And I also think have sex before dinner and avoid that. That's a
Mhm.
Dan Savage, thing he said for years and years and years. And also, there's all kinds of tips and tricks, some of which I will show on our Patreon page, where you
Ooh.
get extra special sexy perks, including commercial free. You can get things like a bonus episode every month, and my new 50 and Fabulous, where I'm giving tips and tricks on how to stay and feel as youthful as you can be. Oh, me. And I'm sharing all those. I'm shooting a new one. It's a great Christmas present to give to some of your friends who listen to Tags Podcast. You can go to patreon.com/Tags Podcast and grab a tier, or grab the free tier first if you're curious. And I post a lot of stuff that won't be seen anywhere other than on the Patreon page. Again, support Tags if you love us. It's a great time to support us. Go to patreon.com/Tags Podcast. And now it's time for the year end in review for Straight Up Gay Porn. For those of us watching us live right now, I put it in the link there. And this is the time of year where it's the segment produced by Straight Up Gay Porn, and there are round one votes. Drum roll,
Mhm.
please. Who's 2024's Thirst Trap King? And we're in the first round of it. There will be another round next week, and I think a third one before we crown the who took the best thirst trap photo of 2024. And there were some good ones here. I will post this on TAGSPodcast.com, reference episode 624. But if you had to decide on an audio podcast, Teddy, who would
Mhm.
you pick and why? Remember, audio podcast, so
Yeah,
vividly,
vividly described.
descriptively described.
So these are like the quarterfinals. So
Yeah.
everybody is hot. Every picture is perfect. It's just so hard to vote. Like literally and metaphorically, it's very hard. It's very hard, you guys.
Yes,
Um,
everybody's hard.
I think my vote is for Swirly
Ooh, that was going to be one of
because
mine.
Swirly is a black man that is kind of
Yeah.
twinkish, but a little more buff than a twink. And he has like the short dreads, but they're like the twist offs. If you know, you
Ooh.
know. And he's like kind of like biting his lip, and he has like the hugest cock. And don't be deceived, he's mostly a bottom, which is like
Oh,
so
I
out of
didn't know
brand for me.
that.
I know, but he is just so gorgeous, so creamy, and he's doing like a deep squat and just like
That
he's
dick is the third leg.
literally. So that's who I'm voting for Swirly. Mwah.
Swirly was literally the one I was going for immediately. And
Mhm.
then I had a conversation in my head, and I
Ah,
went and I ended up going with Roma Lopez.
that
Why?
was my top choice too.
Okay. Roma Lopez is sitting in an office chair, and he's got like this perfect part hair, thick hair, which I'm trying to grow with my hair right now. But he's got
Okay.
these thick eyebrows, and uh, thick eyebrows are apparently our whole thing. Like, well, I'm not even going to reference who's been in the news lately because people are talking about. I'm not going there, but he's
Mhm.
got these overly thick eyebrows, and he's in a t-shirt, and he's got this great smile looking at it. He's got very,
Yeah.
really. I don't know where he is from. If you had to guess,
Me?
Teddy, I know it's kind of hard. I don't know where.
Brazilian?
Maybe okay, let's go with Brazilian. We'll find out later. But he's sitting back, relaxing, and he's got this huge cock that's thick and low hangers that's curving over to his left abs, and he's bushy, which is kind of nice. I want to say he's probably Brazilian too, because I know some Brazilians like to have that hair, and he's got really hairy,
He's
thick
Mexican.
thighs. He's Mexican, even better.
Yeah.
I love it. He's so hot. He gets my vote, and hopefully Roma does well. But
Amen.
Swirly, yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh! Let us know how you weigh in, and always so much fun co-hosting with you, Teddy. As always, happy holidays. You can follow
Happy
Teddy
holidays.
on the gram at Teddy Alexis on the gram. Follow me on the gram. I am _ Stevie, or go to my Blue Sky or Twitter at TAGSPodcast. Same handle where you get a preview of my Just for Fans or Only Fans and new content coming out every week, which I'm happy to produce. Go to our Patreon page where you can support us. Like I said before, go to patreon.com/TAGSPodcast. And in the meantime, continue having hot
Hot,
gay
gay,
sex.
sad.
Love